Just how good can you get at speaking a language with only Duolingo? Well, I spent 24 hours straight entirely completing their Spanish course, and I'd like to share my thoughts and takeaways to help you better answer the question of whether or not this app can actually teach you a language. First, though, I need to get something very important out of the way. No puedes alcanzar la fluidez solo a través de usar Duolingo. Lo siento, pero así es. Pero sí que puedes construir un base que es útil y que puedes aprovechar para llegar a un nivel más alto. Now, Duolingo claims that you can learn as much as 5 semesters of university instruction in just 5 sections of their courses. Now, this means quite literally nothing to you if you have never taken a language class at a university level. So I graduated with a degree in Spanish, and I can honestly say that there were a significant amount of people who graduated with me with a degree in Spanish who could not hold a conversation. Just because you went to college for a language, at least in America, has no bearing on whether or not you actually speak the language. Now, those same people, if they had just done Duolingo every single day for those 4 years they were in college, I believe sincerely that they would have reached a higher level of fluency than if they didn't. I understand that might sound a little crazy, but I'm going to talk more about why. Now, I have 3 bullet points that we're going to go over that I think best encapsulate kind of what I learned from finishing their Spanish course. Point number 1, Duolingo is excellent at keeping you on their app. Essentially, in practice, what this means is that Duolingo is great at keeping you consistently exposed to your target language. Duolingo is literally designed like a video game, which at first you might not think is a good idea if you want to learn a language because you need to be spending time learning the language, not on a video game. But the number one most important thing in language learning is to just stay consistent. Llevo 10 años practicando español y ya lo hablo más o menos sin problemas. Y la razón por la que he llegado a un nivel tan alto es porque me metí intencionalmente en situaciones fuera de mi zona cómoda y porque nunca dejé de aprender. Even if you are doing a little bit every single day, that is enough. And Duolingo is great at helping you achieve this. Within Duolingo itself, every time you complete a unit, you get points, which puts you on a leaderboard. And if at the end of the month you are in the top 20 of that leaderboard, you advance to the next league, starting in bronze, and I think it goes all the way up to diamond or something like that, or triple diamond. Honestly, I don't know. But the point is, there's a social aspect to it. You see other people, you see the scores going up and down. You see yourself rising up in the ranks or going down in the ranks as the month goes on. This is addicting. If you are someone who likes to win and you are a competitive person, I would say Duolingo is actually an excellent way to get going in learning a language. And, let's say you're beyond just the beginner stage. It's a great way to stay consistent. You can't always do a bunch of learning every day, and Duolingo is a great way to just get that 5 minutes in. So without the competitive nature of Duolingo, without the way the points, the leaderboards, the leagues work, you might not spend as much time exposing yourself to your target language. And that's why it works so well. All right, this brings us to point number 2. Duolingo is great for learning introductory vocab and grammar. This is because they teach it to you in the context of real sentences that you might actually use. You are also learning and being exposed to the other aspects of that sentence, like the glue words and articles and random things like that. Now, as far as Duolingo goes, the caveat here is I don't exactly love the way some of these sentences are worded. Frankly, some of them just don't make any sense at all. This sentence here, it grammatically makes sense, but obviously this makes literally no sense. So that can be a little confusing, but overall, I think it's great. If you want to actually reach fluency in a language, you need to expand your vocab beyond just what Duolingo shows you. It seems kind of obvious, but when you're doing Duolingo, you are only learning what they want you to learn, like what you're seeing on the app. And this is not always applicable to your actual life or actual situations you might find yourself in when speaking another language. And my third and final point, you will not reach fluency with just Duolingo. The bulk of your language learning has to happen outside of just using an app. You have to speak with real native speakers. You have to consistently listen to real native speakers, get a hold of, how people say different things. Something you probably are already aware of in your mother language is that different people have their own way of speaking. For example, when I was in Spain, I just found older people to just be harder to understand in general. Also, drunk people are harder to understand. When you're in a crowd and things are loud, even when someone's yelling in your ear, it can be really hard to understand. Not to mention keeping up with multiple native speakers who are having a back and forth conversation and they're joking with each other and throwing around references. That is like the final boss of being able to understand a language. Native speaker whiplash. And if your goal is to hold comfortable conversations in your target language, then you need to be prepared for all of these different situations. It's important to understand that the way that actual humans converse with each other, they cut each other off, interrupt each other, they will swallow syllables of words, they'll just mumble things. Unfortunately, none of this is conveyed to you when you're using Duolingo. So we come back to this point that you're not going to reach fluency just using an app, just using Duolingo. Like, it just doesn't work that way. But all in all, I would absolutely recommend Duolingo, primarily for the reason the way it is designed to keep you exposed to your target language. Ultimately, that is how you get good at languages. You just don't give up. You just keep doing it. It's such a long process. There's so much for you to learn. It's a giant mountain to surmount. It's a giant mountain to climb. You have to surmount the mountain. Nerves, vocabulary, grammar. Just, there's so much, and if you get too tizzied up with it, you're gonna fail. Or at the very least, it'll just take you a lot longer than you'd like it to. If you feel like you have genuinely gained something from this video, then please help me gain something by subscribing to my channel. That's all I really ask. I have a goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, that is 2023. Thank you very much.